So today I'm going to make something related to science which is really innovative and beautiful. It is a lava lamp. So let's get started. So first I will add some sodium bicarbonate and now I will add this in the flask. You can also use a normal bottle, glass bottle like this. Now I have taken vegetable oil in a beaker. You can also take baby oil which is transparent. Now you will not mix this as chemical reaction will not happen. Now I will put this flask to burning. You can also use a light bulb as the heat will go on. If you are using a fire, make sure you do it under supervision. Now, in the other beaker, I will put some acetic acid which is also known as vinegar. Now I will add my favorite color which is green to this vinegar. So now you can also use your color of your choice. Now I will add few drops of colors to it. As you can see, the color has dissolved into the vinegar because it was water based. Now you can add this water based colorful vinegar to this flask. Now you will see the magic will happen. Can you see the bubbles are rising? Now, when I add this colorful vinegar, chemical reaction will happen and carbon dioxide gas will release and they will rise up and down. Now, we can also add more decorations like glitter and you can also use thermocol balls. As I told you, you can also use some thermocol balls. Now, as you can see, the bubbles are rising and it is looking so beautiful. Now, this Christmas, you can make it more special and beautiful by making this lava lamp. And you can also put some 3D figures on the top of the bottle lid. I have put this cord. Now you can make your Christmas more special. Thank you. Bye.
Greetings of the day to all. My name is Ishika Bhardwaj, class 9th Lotus from Olympus High School. Today I am here to discuss about meristematic tissue. But wait, before discussing the topic, let me know if you know what is meristematic tissue. Or do you know that why does the growth of plant occurs only in certain specific regions? This is because the dividing tissue, also known as meristematic tissue, is located only at these points. Depending on the region where they are present, they are classified as apical meristem, lateral meristem, and intercellulary meristem. Apical meristem is present at the growing tips of stems and roots and increases the length of the stem and the root. The width of the stem or root increases due to lateral meristem. Intercalary meristem, seen in some plants, is located near the node. Cells of meristematic tissue are very active. They have dense cytoplasm. To know more about them, let's perform an activity.
Greetings of the day to all. Today I, Ishika Bhardwaj of class 9th Lotus, is going to perform a science experiment which is given by our biology teacher Mrs. Anjupal ma'am.
The aim of this activity is to learn about tissues present in the root tip.
In this activity we need 2 jars, 2 onions and a pair of scissors.
Let's begin the activity. First of all, we will fill the jar A with water. Then we will fill jar B with water.
We will measure the root of the onion of the jar A and as well as of the jar B. Now we will place one in each.
That only lower surface of the bulb is in contact with the water. After that, leave both tumblers undisturbed for 3 to 4 days. We will observe onion bulbs on each day to note the growth of roots.
Here we will write the growth of roots of jar 1 and jar 2. As like it, we will write the growth of roots each day. The 4th day, we will cut out 1 centimeter root of the jar B.
10th day, the growth of roots of jar A and B can be noticed. Case of jar A. Since the roots had not been cut, the root tip continues to grow longer. This root tip is the reason of growth. The root tip consists of a tissue called meristematic tissue whose cells keep dividing and hence result in the growth of roots, while in case of jar B, the root tip was cut on the day 4th, which resulted in the absence of the reason of growth. Since the meristematic tissue was absent, no cell division took place and hence the growth of plant stopped. Hence, it can be concluded that root tip of the onion has a specific type of tissue called meristematic tissue which causes the growth of a plant. Meristematic tissue is a group of cells that divides and grows continuously and hence causes a plant to grow. Thank you.
Greetings of the day. I am Pragya Singh of class 9th Rows of Olympus High School. Today, I will show you a chemistry experiment which was given by our science teacher, Miss Anuradha Joshi. As we all know that during the lockdown period, we were unable to go to school. So, we tried to do this experiment at our homes with the help of our teacher. The materials used in this experiment were easily available at our homes. The aim of this experiment is to compare solutions, suspensions, and colloids. You all must have heard about these words, but do you know what they are? At the end of this experiment, you will be easily able to distinguish between solutions, suspensions, and colloids. So, let's begin. To perform this experiment, the materials required are 3 glasses full of water, salt, oil, and flour. First of all, we will try to understand what is a solution. A solution is a mixture of 2 or more substances. To form a solution, we need a solute and a solvent. A solute is a substance which is dissolved in the solvent. and a solvent is a substance in which the solute is dissolved. In the case of salt and water, we are going to dissolve salt into the water, which means salt is our solute and water is our solvent. Now, I will add some salt into the water. After stirring, we can observe that no salt particles can be seen inside the water. Through this observation, we can conclude that in a solution, the particles of solute cannot be seen through our naked eyes. A solution is a homogeneous mixture because the dissolved material is present in the same amount throughout the mixture. Some examples of solutions are salt and water, sugar and water, lemonade, hot chocolate, etc. Now, we will try to understand what is a suspension. A suspension is a mixture of two or more substances in which the particles are spread throughout the liquid without dissolving in it. Now, I will add some oil into the water. And I'll stir it. After stirring, we can observe that the oil can be seen into the water and it does not dissolve into the water. This observation proves that in a suspension, the particles are suspended throughout the bulk and can be seen through our naked eyes. A suspension is a heterogeneous mixture because the different substances in a suspension can be identified separately. Some examples of suspensions are muddy water, oil and water, slaked lime for whitewashing, and milk of magnesia, etc. Now, we will try to understand what is a colloid. In simple terms, a colloid is a mixture where one of the substances is split into very minute particles which are dispersed throughout the second substance. The minute particles are called colloidal particles. Now, I will add some flour into the water. And I'll stir it. After stirring, we can observe that the water is not perfectly transparent, but it is somewhat translucent, and the particles of flour are not visible. Now, we will leave it undisturbed for some time. After a while, we can observe that the particles of flour does not settle down at the bottom, which proves that a colloidal solution is quite stable. A colloid seems to be a homogeneous mixture, but actually it is a heterogeneous mixture because the particles of colloids are too small to be seen by our naked eyes. Some examples of colloids are smoke, ink in water, dust, colored gems, etc. So here we are at the end of the experiment, and I hope that you all must have understood about the terms solutions, suspensions and colloids. And at last, I would like to thank our Honorable MD Sir, Principal Ma'am and our coordinators for organizing this exhibition. Thank you.
Morning all, my name is Pranav Dulia. I study in class 6 Tulip in Olympus High School, Dehradun. Here I want to show a project on good conductor and insulator. Here I have taken a source of electricity two wires, plastic, wood, steel, paper, iron and a bulb. First I am trying on a plastic. The bulb is not glowing, so it means that plastic is a bad conductor of the electricity. Now I am trying on a wood. The bulb is not glowing, so it means that it is a bad conductor of the electricity. Now I am trying on a spoon. The bulb is glowing, so it means that it is a good conductor of the electricity. Now I am trying on a matchbox. The bulb is not glowing, so it means that the paper is the bad conductor of the electricity. Now I am trying on an iron. The bulb is glowing, so it means that it is a good conductor of the electricity. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. My name is Ananya Thareja from class 6 Rose. As I am here today for science exhibition, I am going to show you the experiment of the soluble substances and non-soluble substances. So here I have mud, turmeric powder, sugar and salt with 4 glasses of water. So firstly I will start with turmeric powder. Ma'am, as you can see, the turmeric powder cannot be dissolved. So we have found that the turmeric solution is insoluble substance. Now I am going to do of the salt. We will stir the salt, and as you can see, the salt is completely dissolved in the water. So it is a soluble substance. Now we will start with the mud. We will pour some mud in the glass and stir it. As you can see that the mud has been settled down and formed a separate layer. So this substance is insoluble substance. We are going to do our sugar. First, we will stir the sugar. After a few seconds, you can see that the sugar has been completely dissolved in water. So this shows that the sugar is soluble substance. So now it is experiment 2. So in these experiments, we will have some flowers and we have to cut its stem. So we are going to make our flowers of blue color and of green color. Thank you. So we will put our flowers in the water. After 3 hours, our flowers will be ready with our colors. So now we are going to check our flowers. So as you can see that the flower has changed its colors into blue color. And now we are going to check this one flower. So as you can see how nice this flower looks, and it's changed its color to green. Thank you.
A very good morning to respected Principal Ma'am, MD Sir and teachers. This is Pankita Tomar of class 11 Science, and today I am going to give you an introduction on the human nervous system. The human nervous system is the center to all mental activities including thought, learning and memory. Through receptors, the nervous system keeps in touch with the environment. The nervous system consists of brain, spinal cord, nerves, ganglia, blood and connecting tissues. The various activities of nervous system are classified as sensory, motor, and integrative. The sensory receptor called stimuli monitors things like temperature, sound, and light and detects variations. This is called sensory output. Then this output is converted into electrical signals called nerve impulses that are transmitted to the brain. This is called integration, and based on both of them, the nervous system sends signal to the muscle or to the gland. This is called the motor output. Now we have prepared a detailed explanation of the nervous system. Please look forward to it.
Good evening everyone, I am Saksham Saran of class 11 Olympus High School. Today I will explain the function of nerve cell. As you can see, this is the working model of nerve cell. Now let us discuss some parts of this nerve cell. The green color represents the cell body and the black branches arising from the cell body are called dendrites. Inside the cell body, here is nucleus. A long fiber extending from the cell body is called axon. The axon is covered by myelin sheet. At the end of axon, here is some branches are called nerve endings or also called synaptic node. Now I will explain the working model of nerve cell. Let us understand with the help of an example. As we are observing an object from our eyes, the visual information is carried to the eye to the brain with the help of a nerve cell. When the dendrite is carried the information, the chemical reaction takes place and it generates the electrical impulse and it goes along the axon and finally to the nerve ending. The nerve endings are not directly connected to nerve endings because there is some gap between two nerve endings. The gap between two nerve endings are called synapse. This is the overall function of nerve cell. Thank you.
Good morning everyone. My name is Amrita Tiwari. I am a student of class 11 Science, Olympus High School, Dehradun. Today I am going to show you an experiment to check the percentage purity of turmeric. The test for percentage purity of turmeric is performed in various stages. The first step is to check the maternal yellow color of turmeric. In this step, firstly we take a spatula of turmeric in a test tube. Now we will add minimum amount of water in this test tube. Now we will add some amount of HCl in it. Now we will put a cork head on the test tube and shake it vigorously. So as we can see that there is no pink color, which suggests the absence of maternal yellow color in turmeric. In the second step, we check the presence of lead chromate and chalk powder in turmeric. So firstly we'll take 100 ml of water in a beaker and add a spatula of turmeric in it. Now we'll leave the solution for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, all the turmeric settles down at the bottom and the solution becomes clear. This indicates the absence of lead chromate and chalk powder in turmeric. In this step, we check the retention factor of turmeric. In this, first we take the root of turmeric and crush it and dissolve it in minimum amount of alcohol, and the solution looks like this. Then, using a capillary, we take some amount of solution in this capillary and then put a spot on this chromatography paper over here. Then we dry this for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we dip this chromatography paper in mobile phase. The mobile phase is prepared from 50% alcohol and 50% water. Similarly, repeat with powdered turmeric. After 20 minutes, we obtain this type of separation of both the turmeric, that is powdered turmeric and root of turmeric. From the given data, we can calculate the RF value, that is retention factor for both the turmeric. The retention factor for both the turmeric is nearly equal. Thus, we can say that the percentage purity of powdered turmeric is 98% pure. Thank you.
Good morning to all. I am Ananda Singhal of Class 11 Science in Olympus High School, Dehradun. Today I am going to present an experiment on the topic reuse of thermocol. Thermocol, as you know, is very harmful for the environment, causes respiratory diseases and also makes soil infertile. We should know how to recycle thermocol, but there are no ways to recycle it, so we should find out a way to reuse it. In the experiment, we will learn the ways to reuse a thermocol.
Thermocol sheet and we'll mix it in the acetone solution. In the thick mass of this polymer is styrofoam. Now we try to make a statue out of it. We obtained this polymer. This polymer is styrofoam. Now we'll mix it with some clay and we'll make a statue of it. Obtained this thick mass from the mixture of clay with this polymer styrofoam. We can make various models out of it, like we had made a human heart from this mixture, we had made heart, we made a Buddha, and many other statues can be made out of this. Like this, we can reuse the thermocol and
reduce pollution in the environment.
Good morning to one and all present here. Today at Ragvinoni with one of my teammates, namely Apurv Tyagi, we are going to show you the representation of a solenoid. Hans Oyster was the first one to coin the name of solenoid, whereas it is known and it is also verified that Henri-Marie Ampère was the first one to coin the name of a solenoid, and he was also the first one to make the solenoid. Henri-Marie Ampère is a professor of physics and chemistry, which has also coined the name of electromagnetic induction, which was later made and coined by Faraday. After the announcement of Oyster's experiment of solenoid, the Henri-Marie Ampère was the first one to coin this solenoid and to make the diagram to the whole board.
Class 11, and I am going to explain the construction of a solenoid. It consists of insulated copper wire, DC adapter, solenoid and an iron strip. Now my fellow friend Apurv Tyagi is going to explain the working of a solenoid.
When 220 volt of AC supply is passed through the circuit, rectifier consisting of a transformer and 4 diodes of a capacitor converts it into a 24 volt DC supply. The indicator shows whether the current is passed through the circuit or not. When current passes through the solenoid, it completes the circuit via crankshaft and iron strip. When magnetic field comes into play, it pulls the connecting rod towards itself and pushes the other part of the crankshaft away, thereby opening the circuit. Now the solenoid stops working and another half round is completed by the momentum which is stored in the flywheel till the circuit is closed once again. This process repeats continuously. As a result, this device saves electricity and produces electricity with the help of potential energy and solenoid.
Again, a very warm good morning to all of the dignitaries watching us representing the model of a solenoid generator. I am Ragvinoni with my teammates Abhay Negi and Apurv Tyagi is gonna thank the teachers and our respected principal ma'am who gave us the opportunity of making this representation come true. I would like to thank our beloved physics teacher Mr. Rahul Walia sir, under the guidance of whom we are here to able to express the representation of a solenoid generator in front of you all. Thank you.
Greetings for the day. With great delight, I welcome you all to this virtual science exhibition organized by Olympus High. I would like to heartily thank our respected Managing Director Sir, Mr. Kunal Chamcher Malla, Principal Olympus High, Mrs. Anuradha Punir Malla, respected teachers and coordinators for providing us this great opportunity amid this harsh situation. I would also like to thank our science teacher, Ms. Anuradha Joshi, who has been working hard in clearing our concepts of science. Mirror. We look into it every day. But how does it work? Reflection. This is because of reflection we can see ourselves in the mirror. But what is reflection? So, today Ahia Jalwar of class 8th Rose is going to demonstrate you the reflection of light. First we will take a plain sheet and draw a line on it, which will act as normal for us. Then we will take an empty box and paste the protector in it. We will make sure that the center line of the protector coincides the normal. Now we will place the mirror on the base line of the protector. Now we will add some water. We will also add some detergent solution so that the particles of detergent will help us to trace the path of light during the process of reflection. So now our whole the setup is complete. We will project the laser light and see what happens. We can see the lines clearly. If we see it in dark, we can see the lines more clearly. The ray which strikes the smooth surface is the incident ray, and the ray which bounces back is the reflected ray. The angle between the incident ray and the normal is the angle of incidence, and the angle between the reflected ray and the normal is the angle of reflection.
This, what we have seen, is reflection. When a ray of light approaches a smooth surface and bounces back, is called the reflection of light. This is the phenomena because of which we can see ourselves in the mirror. Let me tell you, there are two laws of reflection, which can also be seen here clearly.
First law states that the incident ray, the normal, and the reflected ray lies on the same plane. And the second law states that the angle between the incident ray is always equal to angle of reflection. Thank you.